Hi everyone, I'm Mary with Mary Greeley News. Thank you for joining me. Boy, Beehive was really shooting off a moment ago. There's some people there that this fellow over here went close and then actually moved away because it's so windy there. It was carrying the water all the way over to where they were at. This is a live webcam from the Old Faithful camera there. At Yellowstone National Park. Alright, so let's start it out with the most recent earthquake of the 5 earthquakes that they are reporting today at Yellowstone. Today is April 27th, 2022, Wednesday. And you'll see the red dot here. This is supposedly near Hedgen Lake. They're saying it was a magnitude 0.0. Right. Here we have on the left the borehole for the Madison River area. This here is the regular monitor for Maple Creek. And on the far right is Lake Butte. This is the earthquake as it showed up at Maple Creek. I think they're off on the location of the earthquake. And this is the borehole. Right there's the signature. I want to make this one bigger because they are so off in the size of the earthquake. It was actually a magnitude 2.07. Someone got carried away and hitting the zeros. Not a 0.0. Yeah, there's the seismic signature. And there's the spectrogram. And, it probably shook for a few seconds. You can see all the gases that came up. But that is the most recent earthquake. It's currently 1:02 p.m. Central Daylight Time. Let's close this out. And we got another one right here marked in red at 11:01 and 50 seconds, probably about universal time. Here's the spectrogram, and let's go to its seismic signature right there. USGS says it is a magnitude 0.9. 6.5 miles in depth. Yeah, I changed the depth. This 0.0 was 7 miles. Everything's measured from sea level. 0.9, but it's actually, let me pull it down so you can see it. It's actually a magnitude 2.19. Yeah, and then there's that other one. I don't know who they got working there. Let's see. We got a lot of little ones up farther up, marked in red. Looks like we had, blobs of magma coming into the system. Let's look at the spectrogram. Yeah, look at all this activity earlier. And we'll just come down because I want to go to the other monitors and show you all that. Let's extract that. Yeah, harmonic tremors. Or actually, volcanic tremors. Yeah, that's what we got here. Remember, sometimes they're tectonic, and other times it's harmonic. Let's look at that one. Yep, volcanic tremors. For those of you that have been following me over the years, you remember that the Madison River area, which is these two monitors here in the center and on the left, is where the last major eruption started before it did an unzipping. Think of a zipper. You pull it down, it opens up. Multiple eruptions occurred in a counterclockwise rotation, starting up over here where we got these two little dots. And then when it got down to, right close to here, right there at Heart Lake, at Yellowstone Lake, which is the Mallard Lake Resurgent Dome, and then the Sour Creek Resurgent Dome, which would be up in this direction, collapsed at the same time. When that collapse occurred, that's when the whole caldera blew, and it blew out the mountains. That's why if you look at the mountains here, see how they're kind of just abruptly ending over here? Yeah, it just blew it all out, this whole area. So if you're looking at the live web camera, this hill or mountain behind the live webcam That is the Mallard Lake Resurgent Dome. And it's been growing for about, probably the last, I want to say 6,000 years. That's how long Yellowstone's been recharging. At least for 6,000 years. On the monitor for Lake Butte, there's only one marked in red. That's it right there at 9:59 and 30 seconds about. Oh, and good timing. Old Faithful's going off. So we'll watch it for a few seconds. Yeah, first we had Beehive going off, and now we got Yellowstone. Old Faithful going off. A few people there, not a lot. All right, so let's go back to this earthquake that occurred at 9:59 and 30 seconds. They have it listed as a 0.4. Shall we take bets? Okay, it's along the area where that crack is down below in the center of the lake. There's Frank Island. That actually comes in as a magnitude 1.73. And you can see I really shortened up where I would read the seismic signature from. This is a monitor from Lake Butte, which is on the eastern side of Yellowstone Lake. And then going to Google Maps, here is the Lake Butte monitor. This is Yellowstone Lake. I try to draw out about the area where the crack is at. And we'll go to the coordinates where they say that earthquake occurred. And there's Frank Island. Okay, right there. All these pins are from an earthquake swarm that I was tracking last year, which occurred July 17th of 2021. Yeah, there's a lot of them. It says this earthquake has been reviewed. It was done by the University of Utah. Yeah, 0.4, right. And we'll look at the blobs of magma that was coming in at different times. There's a line of melt. Yeah, I don't know how deep that was or how deep the line of melt is. I do know that they have pockets of melt only 600 feet under the ground from where people are walking. And let's take a look at this signature here. What was going on there? Okay, let's extract that and make that bigger. Yeah, sharp points. Those, well, we got some that are tectonic, and then there's others that are volcanic. See how they got the rounded tops? Yeah, we'll go back up to see what else we might have. Small one there, but that's not marked in red. Alright, let's make this smaller. And we'll look at all the monitors together. Quite a few at Maple Creek. Did I do that one there? Let's see. Let's make the borehole bigger. Let's extract that. Harmonic tremors. Yeah, it's called magma when lava is still under the ground. And volcanic tremors are an indication that there is magma on the move trying to rise up in the system. Yeah. And let's go down to what it was showing when I pulled the files. Let's look at the spectrogram. We'll look at the spectrogram from when these harmonic tremors were coming. Right there. You see all the heat. Lots of heat. And let's go back up here. Yeah, look at the line of melt there. That was what time? Let's see, 21:43 probably. Some small tremors going on. But seeing how they only have 5 for the last 24 hours, I don't think, I'll look if they got this earthquake listed. Nope, in fact, they are saying between the 25th and 27th, there was no earthquakes whatsoever on the 26th, which we know is monk. Now, I didn't go that far back, but you can see here, Tuesday, April 26th, we got a small one right here, which also shows up at this monitor. This here is Madison River. That's the borehole. And this is Maple Creek, and I'll pull it over, and there's another one here, right there. And it also shows up for the borehole. Yeah, both monitors, it shows up there. And we got several that occurred there at Lake Butte, but it's so far away from Lake Butte. Unless it's significant, it wouldn't show up on these other monitors across the park. Let me go back and I'll show you the other ones that occurred. There's another one. Let me go ahead 1 hour and I'll pull this over for Lake Butte. Right there. There's another one there that occurred on the 26th. And let's go ahead another 4 hours. Yeah, you can see there was a lot of small ones here. And we'll go forward again another 4 hours. Yeah, look at all the activity. Oh my goodness, yeah. Look at that. Okay, let me extract that. And we'll make that larger. Yeah. And the date, this is still the 26th. I'll go ahead another 4 hours. Look at that. Yeah, no earthquakes occurred. No, it just goes up until today, which is the 27th. And this is what it's currently showing. There's another one, but I think this one, what's the time on that one? 17:39. I don't think I have that. Anyways, that's all I have for you right now. Maybe they have a new student that is reading the monitors. And that's why they're so far off in what the magnitude of the earthquakes are. I don't know. Or they just don't want people to know that they're having magnitude 2s and cause a panic. And people will be asking how come earthquakes have increased at Yellowstone. What are your thoughts? Please put those comments down below. Thank you very much for watching. Thank you for subscribing. Please stay safe. And I'll talk to you later. God bless you. Bye.